Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Anita Bass podcast. My name is Anita Bass, your host, and this absolutely motivational, inspirational, beautiful interview is proudly sponsored by Awake Tours, the greatest music festival travel company in the whole entire world. Yeah. So today, I get the absolute honor of speaking to none other than Jack Wilson, also known as Deadly Ninja Warrior. I first met Jack on a tour many years ago now, and since then I and everybody else have got to sit back and watch him basically take over the whole entire world. Starting off with Australian Ninja Warrior, this then catapulted Jack into the world of impacting communities drastically through fitness, health, lifestyle, mental training, and everything, running clubs, food, exercise. He is amazing. He then lived out of his van. He traveled the world and did so much more, which I will let him speak about, inclusive of a more recent incident where he jumped off a cliff in Bali and injured his back incredibly, and then healed his back with the power of his mind. Because the human potential is limitless, and he is absolutely phenomenal example of this. So I will say no more. We're going to get Jack on the phone and listen to his amazing life story so far. Alrighty, guys. So as promised, I have Jack on the phone. Jack, how are you?
Yo, Anita, what's going on? How's life?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Just getting through COVID, but making the most of it. What about you? Where are you right now?
Right now, I am actually at a standstill for once in my life. I'm in Byron Bay, so I'll give you a bit of a context on that. I've been traveling the nation for the past 3 years in my Prado four-wheel drive, traveling
Amazing.
around to different communities, and yeah, just instilling my purpose with culture, health, and wellness, and just getting people moving and happy and just enjoying life through what I love to do. So it's been epic. And now I've got a project I'm working on in Byron Bay with a few other legends. So some retreats on the rise.
That's amazing. And a very beautiful place to be stuck if you were to quarantine anywhere, I do say. So a
Yeah,
wonderful
yeah.
part.
Well, for those out there that have been to Byron Bay, like it's such a beautiful place in the world. It's the home of the Bundjalung people. So that's the indigenous tribe of this area. And I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians and people of this nation and this region, elders past, present, and future as well. It's such a healing oasis, and there's like an aura in this area, and the presence is just unbelievable. So green, so much forest and tropical, yeah, like mountains and stuff and hiking. Yeah, it's just got it all.
It is beautiful there. It really, really is. So I have already introduced you to the people, I guess. So first up, I just want to, I guess, acknowledge you for showing up in the world and being a beacon of light and positivity to every single community that you brace with your presence, as I said in your intro.
Yeah,
It takes a lot for somebody to stand up and be like, no, this is what I do and this is what I believe in, and I don't care if I have to go at it alone. So I have seen you transform yourself and really put yourself out there at the expense, I guess, of, I don't know, people's opinions and stuff. But in turn, it's all been positive, and you've really done so much for all the communities out there and everyone you touch, food, fitness, and everything. So first up, thank you so much for being a type of
thank you.
person, for putting your hand up. And so I guess I'm going to just get straight into it because there is so much to go through. And so point number one is just your journey to and through Ninja Warrior. I am ignorantly bliss to all of this. So wherever you want to take it, however you want to start it, your journey, how you got there, and what just
Yeah,
happened.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, without going on too much of a journey and speaking about this for hours and hours,
Yes,
because
you
we
could.
know we could get right deep into that. But first, I'd like to yeah, show appreciation to you for bringing me on your podcast and allowing me to share my story
Aw,
and my passions and my purposes. and, giving me that beautiful rap there about standing up and on the front line and being a soldier, taking the, you know, taking the blows from the front line. And it does take a bit of time to really groom into that position. And you don't just wake up one day and become that person. You've obviously got to,
Definitely.
you got a big cut, and, you got to go through a bit of pain. You got to go through some uncertainty. You might have some life-changing experiences, and it's all worth it, man. Like, the journey's been nothing but, interesting, to say the least. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. I mean, a lot of early mornings, a lot of late nights, early nights, a lot of disappointments too. I mean, and failures to go with it, like, getting knocked down, or, not penetrating onto the scene immediately. It doesn't happen overnight. So I've had to make a lot of sacrifices with that, and also losing family members and also friends along the way that weren't really, I suppose, involved or invested in my vision and journey. So, when you lose people so close to you, don't mean to like death or anything, but like you lose friends and family in the social world, or just as a connection, even that hurts as well. And you're like, wow, I thought these people were like really close to me.
Yeah.
But everybody's on a different wavelength in life, and I suppose that's what the universe has in plan for all of us. It's got its ways, and it's got something in store, and it's a matter of you making a conscious decision of which way you want to go in life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, I'm just a North Queensland boy, from Cairns, far North Queensland. So I was born there, and an Aboriginal man on my father's side, from Mount Isa, so that's northwest of Queensland, coming from the Kalkadoon country, so that's the name of my tribe. And on my mother's side, I'm also a Welshman as well, Welsh English from the UK. So got quite a diverse background. I've got a black father and a white mother. So even that in itself was a quite confusing upbringing for me, being surrounded by, my family at home and immersed in my Indigenous culture. And then I'd go to school and then, be bullied from white kids saying that I was, I'm a black boy, and then getting told by the black boys that I was a white boy.
Yeah.
So
Kids are
it's
cruel.
like, yeah, the little bastards. But, that was all a part of the journey, man. And like, I look back at it now and I really just laugh. And I remember the days when I used to get, bullied and, getting a few little blues there, get chased around and get flogged up a bit. I just used to laugh at it now, because it all prepped me for what I am today,
Yeah.
And, as I was very immersed in, team sports, family. I was very fortunate. I got a beautiful mother and father. I got two older brothers that are, my role models in life. And, I consider myself lucky, and fortunate. Not many people are privileged enough to even have family around them. So, I'm very grateful for that. And I must say, I left school at a young age, 15 years old. So I was a high school dropout. I was just dumb as shit. Like I just couldn't. I just couldn't.
It wasn't your thing. It wasn't your thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I can definitely, I could probably even say that a lot of people can say the same thing. Like they just couldn't really learn. They couldn't connect with the teachers. Like they weren't just book smart. I was more so street smart, and it was more so like a hands-on kind of kid. I was quite athletic as well. I just had like a bit of a natural instinct and talent in that way from, my generational line. So I left school, got into the working industry at 15, and yeah, just got straight in there. Had to chuck the work boots on, slap the hard hat on, and then I was surrounded by fully grown hairy ass men. Getting bullied around to do the shit jobs and the shit kicking jobs, getting paid peanuts. And I was like, oh, wow, this is what life's about,
Yeah.
And what led from that was, drinking alcohol and getting on the drugs at an early age, and just thinking like, wow, fuck, this is what you do.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about,
That's
you go to work 6 a.m. until 4 p.m, and then you go to the pub, and then you get hammered on the weekends. And that went on for quite a long time, to be honest. And in that little experience as well. My parents ended up splitting up when I was around 14 years old. So came from quite a broken home towards my teenage years, and just witnessed a little bit of domestic violence at home. So that sort of affected the emotions as a young chap as well. But yeah, finally, seeing the light and got an opportunity when I was 21 years old, and I got approached to go to New York City to run the New York Marathon for an Indigenous Marathon Foundation.
That's amazing.
And that's where it all changed. Yeah.
That's crazy. So they hand selected you to go over there.
Yeah, so I got hand selected out of a few hundred applicants. So I
Yeah.
had to do like an interview, I had to do a trial run, and yeah, I had to put my hand up and go in the draw pretty much in a sense.
Yeah. So this will probably mix my next two questions. So I was going to ask, who were you before all of this? Were you a little shit type thing? But you did answer that you're going down the path that I guess we all do, because we just think that's the thing that you do until you wake up one day and you're like, this doesn't serve me as much.
Yeah.
So what changed, I guess, in between that and then you putting your hand up to do this, which you think made you a leader? Was this the thing that you were like, oh shit, to do this, I need to get my stuff together? Or had you already in yourself been like, no, there needs to be changes, and then you were the person at this point in time?
I mean, like being quite talented on the footy field and also the track and field events at school. Like I was a cross country runner. Like I could just gallop. Like I just had that. I just had them legs. I got the little Murray legs. They're quite lean and wiry and skinny, and I could just move for days. And I suppose I had that talent in me, and I had that I had that drive
Yeah.
of competitiveness.
Yeah.
So I used to always have visions of like competing for somewhat sport in life, and like competing in front of crowds and stuff. And like many of you guys out there may have heard like Conor McGregor about law of attraction. Like he used to envision crowds going wild and
Yeah.
screaming his name and stuff. And I can relate to that. I had the same sort of visions growing up, and I was like, all right, but I had no idea about manifestation or visualization back then. But I suppose we all know without knowing, right? We all visualize things in life.
Yeah.
But if you're not under the impression of actually knowing that the law of attraction is a real thing and you can manifest and visualize, like you're not aware of it in a sense.
Yeah. Most of us accidentally just visualize the bad shit that
Yeah,
could potentially
yeah,
happen.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's so cool. Like I think, people that are listening today may even go, wow, I'll do that as well.
Yeah.
And yes, you can do that. Like visualize exactly what you want. Do that every single day. Do it as much as you can. Be aware and be careful of what you visualize and manifest, because it may just come to life.
Yeah.
There's a song by Eminem, "Careful What You Wish For," and he talks about that exact same thing. And yeah, uh, it was it was really cool because it introduced me to my culture,
Yeah.
the Marathon Foundation. And as I said, growing up, I had that bit of divide within my culture. So I wasn't fortunate to be immersed in cultural dance, cultural corroborees. I didn't grow up actually in my tribe as well. I was brought up in a city. So I was like a city boy. Um, and that really just give me a reintroduction of what my culture meant. And
Yeah.
it gave me an understanding of the Aboriginal culture is the oldest standing culture on this planet, uh, going 60 plus thousand years old, the First Nations people of this whole globe. So basically they are the ancestors, of all of us. And I was like, wow, and then I started to understand the history of it, and how it was quite suppressed back in like 200 years of when, the settlement happened. And I started to just get educated on the backbone of it all. And it was just all brought to my attention at once. And I mean, after 6 years of being in the trenches, in the alcohol and drugs and stuff, just being purely disconnected. I started to come clean and started to train every day, and then, get given a purpose, and I was given a torch. I was given the baton for my people, and had like an obligation to be a role model and be on the front line.
No, definitely. And
So
yeah, and it probably was the right time for you to get that as well, as if you were introduced to the culture and given this opportunity potentially 4 years prior when you were deep into thinking drugs and alcohol were cool and all there is, you may not have executed as well as you have now. So it's beautiful synchronicities.
yeah, yeah, exactly right. Like some people say, like, because I go into schools now and talk about these whole experiences, and they really want me to reinforce drugs and alcohol and whatnot. But I think like, well, I got to experience all of that stuff, and I don't think I'd take it back, because if I hadn't tried it back
Yeah,
then, I'd be eager to try it right now.
exactly. No, this is,
So
yeah,
like everybody's got their course to play in life, and I think all we can really do is just educate them on the effects of it and the repercussions, and what it can actually do to us. I feel the intention and the education is everything that matters right now.
yeah, exactly. Informing people. Because, yeah, similar and same thing. I often talk about this with drugs at music festivals. I'm like, you can't just say no. No matter what you're going to do it anyway until you're finished doing it for you and you realize it doesn't serve you. So, what we need to do now is educate people or put practices in place to help limit the risks when they do it, because they're going to do it even if we say no. So, that's definitely something that I've seen as well.
Yeah, and that's
So,
a great
yeah.
conversation, because there's a mad stereotype and stigma around all these drugs and recreational uh, substances and whatnot, but they all serve a purpose, and they can actually open your mind in spiritual ways also, and it also affects you on the way your mentality is shaped and what your emotions are and what your feelings are. It amplifies all of that. So obviously abuse is a different story,
Yeah.
but if you can use something at a micro dose
Yeah.
and understand the effects and the science behind it all, because it's all been studied now,
Yeah.
like, we
Definitely.
really want to encourage people to understand that, and the information's out there.
Yeah.
Go do your research,
I
understand
have.
that shit.
It'll be probably a couple episodes after Jack's, but I actually have someone who has ayahuasca and psilocybin retreat in Peru coming on to explain the positivity. So,
Oh, good on you. I'll be
yeah.
listening. I'll be tuning in.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Alrighty. So
Epic.
next up, so Jack's gone. He's done all this wonderful stuff in New York. He is now on the top of the world. So from here, what opportunities were there and what was the mission now? You started getting some traction, Ninja Warrior. What was Jack's mission in life?
Yeah, well, I suppose what it gave me vision, and it gave me belief in myself. After in a vortex for 6 years, just living for the weekends, working bloody 6 days a week on a job site, working 10-hour days, shit kicking. It actually opened my world. Like within 7 months, I was in New York City, 60,000 people, 60,000 people in the race, 2.5 million spectators. We had our names on our shirts, so I had people yelling out like, "Go Jack Wilson from Australia, go Jack!" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" I feel like a fucking rock star out here. Like, this is a dream come true. So when I crossed that finish line in Central Park, nearly collapsed and fell over, and I just ran over to my coach, Rob De Castella. And Robbie De Castella is an icon and legend in Australia. He's a professional marathon runner, and he's represented our country. And he's retired now through his legacy. This is what he's built. And I gave him a hug, and I just poured my eyes out. And he said, like, "Jack, you can do anything you want in this life." And
Now
I
you
mean,
knew.
like at that moment, I was like, "Fuck, you're right, I can." Like, and then after that, I suppose the it just got stronger. The ambition got stronger. I took matters into my own hands. And I'm not going to lie, I actually went off track a little bit after it, and I did reward myself with going out and partying, and that wasn't the right thing to do. But I learned from that experience as well, and I found my feet not long after that. And then I just took on, I suppose, health and well-being, because I knew that was my happy place, and that's what I was actually talented at. And I just needed to work on my craft, and just started to eat healthier, started to become more spiritual aware of what I was putting into my body, who I was hanging around, what type of social environments I was putting myself in. I started hanging around more inspiring people that lifted me up, encouraged me, that were better than me. So I had to grow with them, and I just trained every single day. Like, I barely miss a day. Hey, and 3 years later, uh, 3 years later, I got the opportunity to go on the Australian Ninja Warrior, and that's the next journey and the next chapter, to bringing that law of attraction to life. Of when I used to visualize, crowds and people screaming out my name and stuff. I got to be the very first Australian Ninja Warrior to compete on International TV. So
That's
that
so
was
cool.
that was a
Well
dream come
done.
true. And then overnight, I became like a freaking TV sensation. Like, everybody knew who I was. My social media just went fucking gangbusters. I had people messaging me from all over the world, like, "Fuck, you're amazing! Like, awesome work." And I was like, "Wow, this is hectic. What is happening?" And it was all just everything, all all my deposits I was making, and all that good I was putting into the world just came back to me.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
deserved
and
it, though. You deserved it. It
yeah,
was your time
yeah,
to reap the benefits.
yeah. That's right. I was making sure that I deserved it, and that was making all those sacrifices and giving up, you know, uh, toxic people, toxic lifestyles, and then taking on something that actually I believed in, which was gonna create opportunity for our future generation,
Yeah.
of people,
Yeah.
and also give something so significant, which is culture, to this planet. Like, the universe was noticing, and I feel like I really want to shed that little message here today as well. Is like, when you open your heart in life and you give your all for something you believe in, and it's also congruent to doing good for this planet or for other people, like, you get rewarded for it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Don't just do it for yourself, do it for other people, do it for a purpose, and you'll find that it just comes at you at abundance. You know what I mean?
It does. The universe definitely has a way of rewarding you if you stick in there, do the time, and you have good intentions. That's why it's important. I always tell people, don't screw people over just for money or whatever,
Yeah,
because it will come back. You'll get what you
it'll come
deserve
and get you.
positively. Yeah. No, it is so true. So thank you for sharing that. The next thing I wanted to discuss with you is the concept of failure. So I meet a lot of people who most of the time, I would say 80% just don't do. Like, initially they don't do because they're scared of people's opinions, or they're like, oh, that's not something I do. That's what other people do. I'm going to fail
Yeah.
anyway, so I don't do. And to
Yep.
that, I always say, like, there is no such thing as failure. It is just lessons, and it's not ever going to be a situation where I want to be a millionaire. Oh, I became a millionaire. Like, it doesn't happen. It's such a great thing to everyone because it's so unobtainable, like getting your dreams and going after things. And failure is just a part of that. Failure isn't a bad thing. It's just the ways that the thing doesn't work. But failure always leads to lessons. Like, everything that I've failed at has led
Yeah.
me to learn so much. So I just wanted to know your opinion on failure based on the fact you're wildly successful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, failure can definitely deter you, and it can crush you as well. We look at failure as a low blow, and I mean, it's pretty natural. When you get hurt or something doesn't work out for you, you you are fucking greeted with sympathy and worry and doubt, especially from other people. In comparison to someone, I suppose, getting excited for you and saying, "Well, fuck, what are you going to do now? Like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Get the fuck up. If you fall on your back and you can look up, you can get up.
Yeah.
Like, let's keep moving forward." And that just goes around, I suppose, your social life and who the people are around you. But I mean, I went through that as well. Like, I failed a lot of times. Things didn't work out. Got injuries. You know, lost jobs, And I mean, the natural feeling is hurt. That is our natural nature. Like when you get hurt, you want to grieve, and you really feel worthless or hopeless. So I definitely went through them motions, and it didn't take me until I started to grow a little bit more mature, and I started to find role models and leaders in my life. And I found a lot of them online, to be completely honest with you,
Yeah.
through Instagram and YouTube. I used to watch a lot of motivational speaking from successful people, and they all say the same shit. They all say, no excuses, never give up, keep moving forward, believe in yourself, don't stop, work harder. It's just all those same mantras and those affirmations. And I suppose what I found was we all have a voice inside of us of resilience and strength and empowerment. It's just a matter of, I suppose, each person's childhood and what they witness from their environment and atmosphere growing up. So if you're in a household family that are constantly, I suppose, downgrading you, not believing in you, you're getting floggings, you're getting told you're worthless, you're hopeless, get to your room,
Yeah.
stop doing that, be quiet. Like all of that shit is instilled into your subconscious mind. So when you grow older, you've got a thought pattern, and you've got all these, blockages in your DNA. So it's all about recreating, those thought patterns and those receptors, firing new receptors and new thought patterns, and sending new energies through your neurological pathways as well. And then so that goes back to following inspiring people and leaders and listening to them over and over and over, whether it's on podcasts or YouTube videos or music. You start to find your voice again through other people's, voices.
Yeah. Confidence in knowing that other people have been through what you have, and
Yeah,
it's not the end. That failure isn't.
yeah,
Yeah. No.
yeah. That's exactly right. And we all know without knowing, really. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
we all know, but sometimes we don't know. But then when you bring it to someone's attention, they're like, "Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, thanks for letting me know that. I thought about that, but I didn't think if it was but it's like you knew it. You just didn't believe in it.
Yeah. For
It just
yourself.
takes yeah, it just takes someone else to bring it to your attention and then mentor you.
Yeah. No.
So that's my lookout on values these days. I fucking want values. I want people to not believe in me. I want to, I want to get injured, because I want that challenge, because I know that you know, there's a bigger, I suppose, purpose in store for that. I'm going to learn so much from that.
Yeah.
And for example, I've lost a few contracts over this last couple of months due to COVID and stuff. And, that just made me realize, like, you know, some people just can't handle the struggle.
Yeah.
They can't handle these crises in life where you just get pounced upon by something so unknown and anonymous. They're like, oh shit, wow, can't handle this. We've got to bail. It's like, see you later.
Let's make
Catch
it
ya.
work. Yeah. Weeds
I'm
out
gonna
the people.
I'm ready to go still. Like I'm not going nowhere. My vision's the same. My ambition's the same. I'm just hungrier now. Like,
Yeah.
so I suppose it's changed that whole, you know, dynamic of it, and just going, guys, fucking open your minds up. Bring the challenges. You want the adversity. You want the challenges because, like the saying, you know, to make a diamond, you got to get cut, under immense pressure. So to get something quite beautiful and construct a masterpiece, it's got to go through pressure, and it's got to go through, you know, anguish and pain and a little bit of struggle, and you got to get cut while you're at it.
Yes. And
That's
then
where I'm at with that.
you come out stronger all the time. And so, speaking of pain and struggle, this leads perfectly to my next point, which is your back incident in Bali.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh shit.
let's let the people know what happened, the power of your mind, how ridiculous that story was, and how on earth you're even alive.
Yeah. So guys, basically what happened was I love to do some extreme sports. So um, I'm a skydiver, licensed skydiver. So I go skydiving often for fun. I jump off the biggest cliffs I can find around the world for fun. and see how many flips we can do in a day, and just all that sort of insanity. But that's where my happiness comes from, I suppose, pushing the body to its most extreme limits. And how far can we push this vessel? So I jumped off a 30-meter cliff on Nusa Penida in Bali, which is an island off the off Nusa Chinangan and Nusa Lembongan. Have you been there?
I have not. No, I've never made it over there. No.
Yeah, you should do a tour over there. It's
It'd be
fucking
pretty.
sick
I've heard
spot.
good things.
I'll take them all cliff jumping if you want.
After this story,
No.
I'll sign them.
Yeah.
I'll get them to sign a
No.
waiver.
Yeah. No, so like we had a successful day on the Saturday, the 15th of February. Jumped all day with my good friend Gaza, and we actually camped there overnight and slept under the stars. It was quite beautiful actually. And the next day we woke up and he actually got injured on the Saturday, and we actually made a pact. We're like, nah, no jumps today, brother. Like, because if you got no one to save you, like it's just off, but you don't make it happen.
Yeah.
But I woke up and then I looked over the cliff and I was like, dude, there's a dinghy down there. Like there was a Balinese crew down there swimming with the manta rays. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna jump. He's like, fucking go for it, man. I was like, well, we've got safety now. Like if something happens, there's a boat down there to save me. So I started suiting up. I chucked my Vans on. Ended up going to the edge of the cliff, and this is the highest jump I've ever done. So 30 meters, it's about roughly 98 foot, and that was about 7 meters higher than we were jumping the day before. So it was an unknown height for me. So I end up sending a gainer, so it's like a front backflip, and underturned it and sort of landed quite bent over, like a jackknife. Like I wasn't rigid and fully up vertically, so I could penetrate the water with my heels on my toes, because there's a technique you have to sort of, land in the water so you don't have any problems. No good. Hit the water on impact. It's like hitting concrete from that level. And because I had shoes on, there's more surface area for the water to penetrate. The impact went through my legs and, went through my hips and then went through my spine. And then immediately I knew something was up. I had an overwhelming pain of agony just overwhelm my body. I was like, oh, no, what's going on here? I made an executive decision immediately because I've got a little bit of knowledge about injuries and how they can affect you by your immediate response to it.
Yeah.
So I went straight away. I said to myself, I got this covered. I'm not going to die. I'm going to get myself out of this water. But I knew it was a bigger injury than it ever could be. Yeah. Who knows what it was going to be? I had no idea. And that all come from this book called Relentless by Tim Grover. He talks about, he's a mentor for Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant, LeBron James, RIP, but he mentored them guys at a high performance level on injuries and stuff. And when you get injured in life or you go through a struggle or an adversity, in that immediate moment, you have to make a decision on how you want it to play out in the future. Because if you decide to yourself immediately, like, your life's going to end, this is going to fuck me forever, I'm going to be out, like, whatever, like, that's the way it'll be. But if you take it on board and go, thank you for this challenge, let's overcome this. So I made that decision immediately. I screamed out to that Balinese guy. I was like, oi, fuck, I'm hurt. And he just, like, brushed me, looked away. I'm like, oh, shit.
I need help.
Yeah, he didn't know what I was saying because he didn't speak English. And then he ended up coming over. He picked me up. I somehow summoned the strength to climb in the boat. And at this point, the pain was just becoming stronger and stronger. He drove me over to the edge of the cliff. And because there's no way up, you got to climb up. So I had to rock climb out of the cliff all the way to the top. And I got up there and I had to lay down immediately. And I was like, Gaz, I'm fucked, man. Like, something's going on with my spine, eh? Something's going on with my spine. He's just lay down, bro. Just relax for a bit. Just give it a bit of time. As the time went on, it just got worse. So He's like, man, fuck, we got to do something. Like, you can't just stay here. We got to go to the hospital. So now we're on the other side of the island. We've got an hour scooter ride to get to this hospital.
Yeah.
The bumpiest roads you could ever think of. And I was like, shit, all right. So I had to just grit my teeth and just get up. And he had to help me up onto my scooter. Then I had to ride my scooter with a broken back all the way to the hospital. And I got to the hospital. I laid down, and they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" It's my spine. They're like, "Okay, do not move." Like, because when you get a spinal injury, it's very crucial and important to not move. But here I am on a scooter.
Yeah, you're like,
Right.
don't tell him what I've been doing. Cross country last hour.
Yeah.
Triathlon, been swimming, jumping.
Yeah. And it's just like I was being watched. I was being looked over, man, by
Yeah.
someone. They put me on an X-ray, and they looked at my X-ray, and my L3 vertebrae in my lumbar spine, which is my lower back, was like shattered through the middle, chipped off. A wedge was chipped off the back of the vertebrae. And they're like, "Don't move. Like, you've got a floating bone in your spine right now. That could easily penetrate your spinal cord, which is where the pathways are, all your nerves and stuff." And I was like, "Fuck, righto, stay strong here, just stay positive." Quite uncertainty, but I was keeping it composed. They chucked me on a speedboat. They took me to the mainland and took me straight to a hospital, and then they put me under an MRI and whatnot. Then they're like, "Okay, Jack, this is what's happening. You need to go in for surgery right now, or you might need to get sent home urgently." I'm like, "Fuck, are you serious? Like, is that my only options?" And they're like, "Well, you can also go with bed rest for 2 weeks in hospital, so we can see if there's any union growth, but we don't recommend that." And at this point, I had no travel insurance. At this point, it was costing me $2,000 a night.
Yeah.
But what I did know, which is what saved me, was about Dr. Joe Dispenza. So, do you know Dr. Joe Dispenza?
I know of the name. I haven't looked into his research too much, no.
Awesome. Okay, so this is super cool for you and everyone out there. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, he specializes in neuroscience, so all the nerve pathways in our body. He studies quantum physics, and he's marrying spirituality and science together, like the effects and the benefits of positive thoughts, positive feelings and emotions, and how they affect our DNA and I suppose our makeup of us as human beings, because we're all made up of energies, right, and atoms. So every thought has a purpose, every feeling has a purpose, and every emotion, has a purpose. He says the thoughts are a language of the brain, and our feelings are a language of the body. And I watched his story, ironically, like, about a year or half a year ago, he went through the same kind of incident in a triathlon race where he got hit by a vehicle going 80 miles an hour and just totaled his full spine. And he disregarded the surgeries, disregarded everything the doctor said, and pretty much healed everything with meditation and his practices. And I had this information and I knew about this. So I was like, wow, I'm confident that I can heal my own body through Dr. Joe's meditation. So I stayed there for one night. They hit me with a $2,000 bill that just cleared out my bank account. And I had mum on the back burner if I need any more money. I said to them, "I want to get out of this hospital. Take me somewhere." So they got me in an ambulance on a stretcher. They drove me to a hostel. The owners of the hostel said, "No, like, we don't want this crippled guy here. Like,
This
what are you
problem.
dropping some
Yeah.
bloke off in an ambulance? Is he dead or something?" So that happened. This was like 11 o'clock at night. Then we drove to another hospital, went in there. They disregarded me. They weren't for it. They're like, "No, we don't have a spine specialist here. We can't take him for insurance reasons." Took me back out to the ambulance, went out to another guest house. Finally, they gave us the thumbs up and they took me in. The paramedics dragged me out of the ambulance, flicked me onto a bed, and then that was it. That's where the
Yeah.
journey began.
Oh my God.
And all I had was Dr. Joe's meditations and my understandings of, his practices and his education. I just done some research on all that because I'm quite a spiritual person anyway. I know about the law of attraction. I know the power behind our thoughts and, manifesting and, believing and all that. But like he opened up a new avenue for me in a way where I could redirect and intentionally direct these energies and these thoughts and feelings purely to reconstruct and rebuild my back.
Yeah, to a physical body.
So yeah. And I mean that's where it all began for me.
And how long until you were feeling okay, if ever, if still, or until you could walk at least?
Well, I could walk in. I was walking in 3 days.
That's insane.
I couldn't move. Like I was constipated as shit because they gave me oxycodone. I was on all these drugs, and I made a decision. I'm like, I'm not taking. I don't need these drugs. Like, I don't need. Like, I'm plant based already, so that's a plus. That's a healing agent.
Yeah.
I decided to start fasting for 24 hours a day because that's a healing mechanism as well. There's some amazing benefits through fasting. They say that fasting is like the holistic. It's like the holistic surgeon table.
Yeah.
Like you're doing the work yourself internally just by starving the body, and that's what gets rid of all the toxins and flushes your body out. It recreates and generates new cells in the body, and encourages blood flow and all that sort of stuff. Like that's another avenue that I started to research as well. So I was walking in 3 days, only to the toilet and back. And then the fourth day, I think I extended it. I ended up walking for about 10 to 15 meters, then back to my bed. But within all these practices as well, I was meditating 3 hours a day, 1 hour and a half in the morning, 1 hour and a half in the evening. And I was just visualizing energies generating around my back. I was literally inside my back, like sending a luminance light and energy and just, reconstructing and rejuvenating my bone and everything. It was gnarly. And then say like on the fifth day, I walked about 40 meters. Sixth day, I walked, I think like 100, 200 meters. And when I'm walking like an old man, like just little steps. Like, you see them old fellas walking in the street. You're like, oh, cute old guy. He's so cute. I reckon people were saying that about me walking along the street.
Wasn't he a Ninja Warrior? Why is he walking like that?
Yeah,
the mobility of an 80-year-old.
What's happened to Jack Wilson? I've fucking seen him swinging around in a bar the other day. And this was in Bali, so I had no family around, no friends around. And also, guys, I didn't tell anyone about this either. No. I went completely off social media. I disappeared. It's like I vanished off the face of the earth. But there's a reasoning behind why I done that as well. The reason why I done that was because I didn't want to receive and I didn't want to experience any negative energies that were going to benefit me and my experience. All I wanted to experience was my own thoughts of empowerment and encouragement and belief and strength. Can you vouch for that as well? Like, do you feel like when something goes wrong in life, people always, come with sympathy and?
Yeah, there's all parts of it, and like energies and stuff. To some people, you might be like, "Oh, what is this woo-wah?" But it's a thing, and I can completely agree. To the point, I would have just turned my phone off and be like, "No, I have me, and I've got me, and this is what we're doing." Because if not, you open yourself up to. Number one, just being on your phone and all the notifications, which actually screws with your mental health as well. And then, number two, people like sympathy or wanting to know, then getting angry that you haven't told them, or you told this person and not this person, or some people are kind of happy that you're failing, and I would be like, no, this is my time. There's no reason you need to know, and I'm here for me. Definitely.
Awesome. I'm glad that you can see that perspective as well. And I feel like with with our access to social media, we like to, share everything and get
Yeah.
gratification, uh, from things in life. And it's just not the way to go, because it just fills a void that doesn't need the energy.
Yeah, definitely. No, that is crazy, and an inspiring story that you basically fixed yourself with your mind. So well done, and that's obviously a testament to the fact you got your body into such a position that you're a walking machine anyway, which is a testament to good food, mental health, water, and exercise, which people easily overlook. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah,
the healing process is still going. Like, I'm not even 100% yet. I think I'm roughly around 67, 70% at the moment. But
yeah.
I'm back exercising, I'm back moving, I'm back running. Like, I'm back doing a lot of mobility. Like, I'm falling in love with yoga now, which is something that I hated and I couldn't get into. I used to,
Me
yeah, I
too.
couldn't sit down and meditate. Yeah, it hurts, man. Like,
I
shit.
would hate it, and I would go and I would see like 60-year-olds just holding the pose, and I'd be like, bro, this sucks. Like, and I didn't go back for 2 years, and then I was like, no. And then I just knew I hated it because I couldn't do it. And so I made myself do it, and it's awesome. It's like moving meditation just to be, because if you are not in the moment while doing yoga, you can't do it properly. So it's just full, get your mind back into it. But I agree, I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
And that brings me into my next 2 points, I guess, which is the importance of exercise and the concept of food being medicine. So I would like to know your take on this, based on the fact that obviously you're a leader in the fitness community, and I don't know too much about it, but I remember seeing people doing like runs and tagging you in it, like the kilometer clubs or whatever. And you've talked a
Yeah.
bit about your plant medicine diet. So yeah, both of those, food being medicine and exercise.
Yes. Well, I mean, that is pretty much the priority in my life, is movement, stimulating the blood, and, constantly releasing natural endorphins in the body, which we can do by, getting our heart rate up, sweating, getting out in nature and moving our bodies naturally, which we are designed to do. So we've got two legs and two arms for a reason. You know, our our ancestors, friggin', before any seats were even here, like, people had to walk for their food, and they had to hunt for their food, and all that sort of stuff. So naturally, like, we're creatures of this land. We're not meant to be cooped up in an office, sitting in front of a screen that's projecting, radiation and blue light straight into your noggin.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
so I think, we've got a lot of natural energies, out in this world, like, the fresh air, our beautiful plants and trees. We've got a moon and a sun that provide energy, natural energy for us. So I I love getting amongst all that, and I just love pushing my mind to the limit as well, where I want to give up, but I know I can do more. Like, there's just a pure feeling to, running up a hectic hill as fast as I possibly can, nearly about to pass out and die, and then recovering and going, holy shit, I feel like
Yeah.
I've just taken a shot of ecstasy. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that is unbelievable.
And it really does. Like people they like say ecstasy, but honestly, when I go to Thailand and do like the fitness camps, which I hope to take people over to, I remember the first time I did it and I was like, dude, this is like, I feel like I've been at EDC for 3 days. Like I just feel, you feel so happy and high and
Yeah,
everything, and you're like,
yeah,
yeah. And then you go about your day and your life, and you're like, bro, everyone needs to do this daily. It's like a cheat code, but it's so obvious, but people don't do it. And no, definitely, definitely.
yeah. It's like a cheat code. That's it. It's like a natural energy, and, like, a lot of our drugs that are getting around these days, like, you get high and then you crash. Like, I like to put it this way: like, if you get on a natural high, you fucking go up and you don't come down, baby. You're constantly up. You're up, man, and you're inclining as it goes on as well. And you're like, shit, man, like, fucking can do this shit naturally, just through our breath and just through pushing our bodies to the limit, or hiking a massive hill,
Yeah.
or, like, yeah, it's just cheat codes, as you just mentioned. It's
Yeah.
cheat codes, man. And
No.
then that goes on to my food as well. Like, a lot of our food that's been put on this planet has been put on this planet for a reason, and grows out of the ground for a reason. And it's all just high vibrational life that the sun and the moon oxygen and water and soil has just produced. And been plant-based for 2.5 years now,
Yeah.
and that has sort of, escalated my life in a way where I've got a lot more energy now as well, and I've got a lot more connection to this planet too. So I'm really passionate about what I put into my body on a daily basis. That's where a lot of my energy comes from, and understanding the education in that perspective as well, because there's a lot of fucking fast food out there and just nutritional, nutritionally poor, options
Yeah.
out there where we're just putting all this shit in our body. It's making us, it tastes good for a millisecond, and then, you're feeling sick half an hour later, then you're shitting through the eye of a needle.
Yeah. And people don't realize it's just education as well. And until you know, you don't know. And a lot of people don't understand how good they should feel, is what I always say. Like, and I guess I was ignorant to it too, just because you just know what you know growing up. And then it wasn't until I competed in fitness comps and that, and I basically had to reset my body and then slowly reintroduce foods through dieting again. And then I was like, fuck, this makes me feel like shit. And I could like pinpoint what foods made me feel a certain way. And that directly connects to your mental health as well, to the point I was like, I'd never want to eat this again because it makes me sad. And that's something like people just don't know. But
Yeah,
food is medicine. It's like fuel in your car. And
yeah,
if you're just feeling with shit day after
yeah,
day, you just, yeah, no, definitely.
yeah, man. You're onto it. You're onto it. It's unbelievable, really. Like, but you can't blame yourself, and you can't dwell on it, because I mean, like, this fucking society, like, they fucking tricked us, the bastards.
Yeah.
They fucking tricked us, and that is it.
You don't know.
Most utmost and foremost, they tricked us to think a lot of these foods, through advertising, conditioning, programming, through like TV adverts or just bigger industries with money paying for their advertisements and stuff, like advertising food that was absolutely shit for us, but
They say
trying
it's
to say that it was
healthy.
good for us.
Yeah.
So we're in a combat field out here, and you'll get taken out if you're not careful. You got to have your shields up. You got to have your education. You got to be doing your research, and sometimes you don't find out these things until a little bit later. But I'm really blessed, and I'm grateful now that we have social media, because you can fucking search whatever you want. You can post whatever you want, and you
Yeah.
can go against that now.
No, it's very important, and yeah, to think for yourself. Which leads me into my next question, which food, people, everything in your environment affects you. And a massive point for people either trying to become the best version of themselves or change into somebody who they see themselves as becoming, to me, is who you surround yourself with. So growing up, I literally had to, not that the people around were bad, like they're wonderful and they're still my friends, but it was just a different path that I was going on. And at that
Yeah,
time, there was no other people to hang around. So I just went at it alone. And as you did, I found all my mentors and I guess friends on podcasts and the internet. And so
yeah,
I would like to know your opinion on the importance of who you surround yourself with and if you have found that has affected your journey.
yeah. Super important, this one. Uh, you are the five people you hang around.
Yeah.
You are as good as the people you hang around, and that can really go both ways. Like, if you hang around people that are killing it, successful, heads on their shoulders, you're gonna rise up to that level.
Yeah.
If you're hanging around a bunch of bums that are constantly negative, putting each other down, going out fighting, going out stealing, you're going to be doing the exact same thing as them.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really win there. You've really got to pull the plug and go, fuck, this is not me.
Yeah.
Or, you got to fucking man up and do it, and then learn the hard way. But these days, man, I try and be very wary who I hang around. I've got a lot of empathy though. So if I do find myself, I'm a bit of a lone wolf though, really. Like, after being traveling the nation for so long, I feel like I'm with I'm one with this planet, and I'm one with everyone. I
Yeah.
feel so when I go somewhere, I feel so comfortable, and I feel so welcomed in a way where I'm there to either help, in any way, shape, or form, or inspire. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can be hanging around people. Like, I need to always be topping up my energy backpack as well to be a better person and keep growing. But if I get, I'm always going out to communities where I've got to talk to a group of troubled youth that have been stealing cars and on methamphetamines and sniffing paint and stuff at a child detention center. So I've got to try and help these kids out of the trenches as well,
Yeah.
and inspire these kids. And I definitely never point the finger either. Like, I'm a good listener. I've got a lot of empathy and compassion where I can get down to their level and understand them for who they are and why they're doing these things.
Yeah.
And everybody's a pure and beautiful person at birth,
Yep.
and everybody deserves to be happy. Everybody deserves chances in life. And yeah, I deliver as much as I can in that way, but then I've got to also be wary and be protective of my energy as well. You can keep giving, giving, and giving, and if people are giving back and going and changing, you can see, you can see differences and you can see them progressing. Fucking beautiful. Keep working on that. But if you see people keep taking, and then going against their word and doing shit behind your back or falling back into the same ruts, you got to fucking bounce the scenes.
Yeah, you can't help them
You
if
got
they
to,
don't want to help
nah,
themselves, and then they just keep coming to you because you're the only one listening. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. But I feel like also it's very important to try and extract those people from their environment
Yeah.
and from their friend circles, or who, because that's all they know. So they're pretty much sheltered in a way where they're pigeonholed into only seeing four walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The old saying is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But what you can do is you can grab that horse, you can take him to a different farm around different horses, and you can change his environment. Change the influences around him. So that's how I see it now. I feel you need to really, yeah, you got to look at it from many different angles and be understanding.
Yeah, no, and I think
So
that's where your past probably comes into play as well when you're going out to the communities, and that you're relatable in the sense where you a young child as well, and you didn't exactly grow up like with everything given to you and like a mega mansion, and you didn't grow up with silver spoon like type thing, so you can go there and teach them and you're relatable to them, and you can be like, no, see, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, and
yeah,
you can relate to them on that level instead of being a multimillionaire coming there, raising their nose and being like, oh, get it together. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly. I've got that feather in my cap now where I can see it from their way because I've been in that position.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh fuck, yeah,
That's
I
right.
get it, I get it. They're just young and dumb and having fun, really.
Yeah, exactly. Until they know. So, how does Jack keep going and never give up? I never really see you fall into a victim mentality or stop smiling. So, how do you just keep going? Or,
Now, now it is like we only got one life. That's how I see it now. I'm like, fuck. If I pass away tomorrow, I want to make sure that I said everything I wanted to say. I felt every emotion I wanted to feel. I made people feel the way I'd love them to feel. Like, I treat people the way I want to be treated as well.
yeah,
And if my life gets taken, I'll be stoked.
yeah,
I'll be fulfilled. I'll be wholesome. I'll be like, fucking too easy. Like, Dunskies,
yeah,
take me. Like, I don't want to regret that.
yeah,
And I feel like, my culture has a lot to do with that as well. Like standing up for something I believe in, and also representing on behalf of many thousands and millions of other people. Like, I want to be the voice for many others.
yeah,
That's what keeps pushing me further. Like, I know that this world and this universe is bigger than me, and I get that now. Like, I'm that content with where I am in my life through all the practices and the internal work I've put in. Like, I can't even hold a grudge anymore.
yeah,
I can't complain at all. I can see everything in a different light. I can always see the positives in a bad situation.
yeah,
Like, I just don't see I can't see it. I just
Yeah,
can't.
it's not a thing.
It's like, where
It's
is it?
such a
Just
gift. Yeah.
it's foreign. Like, fuck, man. I hear people these days complaining. I just want to fucking
Yeah.
shake their heads and give them a good slap and go. But then I
On
go, oh, fuck, they're learning.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Until they know. No, I always
until they know.
I
And I'll
always say
always
the
like,
same. So go.
yeah, no, I'll always dissect them. I'll dissect their brain, and I'll dissect their their mentality. Their if they're with an ego and they've always got something to say, or they've always got a excuse. I'll always dissect that excuse and go, no, well, what about this? No,
Yeah.
well, what about this? Oh, but you can do this.
Yeah. No.
Oh, but if that
No.
doesn't work, you can still do that. And they're like, oh, just shut up. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
They just want to have a problem. Yeah. It is. It is. But yeah, I did a podcast on depression and that as well. And in that, I was saying some people just don't think to think as well. And I grew up in a hectic childhood. My thought pattern was negative until I learnt to intercept it. And so many people throughout their daily life have these little thoughts in their head like, oh, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks. And they don't actually realize, and I don't say this from a place of pedestal because I was one, that there is so many things to be grateful for. And I guess because I've traveled so much and seen people where they should be sad every day, be so happy, I have unfortunately not as much sympathy for some people, but I used to be
Yeah,
that. So yeah, say if they're like, oh my
yeah.
God, my fucking food is taking 5 minutes, where's the waiter? And it's just
Oh,
like
oh,
at the fucking beautiful restaurant that you're with your friends, you're not getting shot
oh,
up, there are people being sex
oh,
trafficked, you have a job to afford this food, like
yeah.
it's 10 minutes, like chill. But you could see them getting physically worked up and it's just like, oh sweetheart, this is not the thing for like chill.
It's
Life is great.
cringeworthy.
Life is actually good.
I know, right? I know. And I suppose that's why me and you are, we're doing what we can do as well to bring this awareness to these people because they're not conscious of it.
Yeah, and you don't know
They're
until
not,
you know. It's just what you've always done.
it's just, yeah, well, yeah, I suppose exactly right. You've just followed the leader, which is probably your parents or, your influences around you.
Yeah,
So that's all they know.
exactly. All right, so I got two more questions for you before I wrap this up.
Yeah,
And
bring them on.
so, advice to anyone who is stuck in life and feels that they just can't get up and do. I don't know if you've ever been in a depressive state. I have, and I let it take over myself for too long. I really should have intercepted it, but there are times where you feel stuck in the trenches, hopeless, helpless, and you believe the bad shit that maybe your parents have said about you. So, anyone who may be there right now, Jack in his darkest days, anyone who is stuck.
Communicate. Please, please, please just speak up.
Yeah.
Like, just talk about it. Don't let it keep, you know, um, keep rejuvenating and recycling and, growing inside of your brain because it's just making it worse. I feel like people, we're out here to help you. Like, I want people to, just to communicate and just say, like, it's okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
I feel like, we've got a lot of suicides and a lot of, early deaths these days because they don't know who to talk to or they feel so depressed, they feel worthless and they don't feel like they should be on this planet. And that really sucks, man. That really sucks. And all
Yeah.
it takes is a conversation. All it takes is to reach out and say, I'm not okay. Can you help me? And, you can resolve, whatever it is you're going through immediately. And like on the other side of that, you go, oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Wow. Like what? Fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, communication, speak up. Even if you don't want to talk to your parents, or people, your brothers or sisters, just reach out to a friend at least. Or if you don't even have any friends that you can talk to, like speak to a stranger, just say, look, I'm not okay. I need help wherever I'm at. This is what I'm going through. And no doubt in my mind that, you'll overcome it and that person will have message me for Christ's sake. Like I'm loving this shit. Like I'm all about it. So, in Instagram, Deadly Ninja Warrior, send me a message. Like I'm more than happy to have a yarn with you and let you know about my experiences on how you can get through this and even like give you some some practices on how you can overcome this, like that you can do on your own in the comfort of your own home. It's just a matter of manning up and going, like, I'm bigger than this. Because if you make the wrong decisions, you're going to hurt a lot of other people around you as well, which, they don't deserve it. And if you want to man up and be responsible for your own actions, like, it's your time to overcome this adversity and this challenge.
No, very, very good advice. I think a lot of people feel alone, and when you feel alone, that's the time when you least want to put your hand up. But take it from me, who could have saved 3 years of my life if I just was like, yo, I need help. Yeah, you just get stuck. You get stuck in your head. You think you're worthless, and then it's just a self-feeding cesspool of shit cycle where you could have stopped it. And now that I understand myself and pick myself up, I'm like, oh, it's so much easier when it's shared. And now I have like things in practice. So no, very, very good advice there.
Yeah.
And so my closing question is advice that you would give to your younger self, looking back now, whether it be about business or life or anything, not necessarily meaning you should have taken it because your life may be in a different position, but advice that you would give to your younger self or young Jack may want to hear from older Jack.
The first thing would be is be yourself.
Yeah.
Be yourself, young Jack. Whatever you want to do in your life, you do that. Just be yourself. Do not change for the people that you surround yourself with, or do not change for the people you see on TV or, your music videos and stuff like that. Just be yourself, who you want to be. And the next thing would be like, what do you love and what do you want to be? I think that's the main thing I'd advice I'd give myself. And I suppose just a bit of a pep talk on, you can be that person as well, and you don't have to change.
Yeah.
And I feel like on the back of that would be, you can help other people do the same as well. So you can build a family and an army of purity and of whatever you want to do in this life. You can do it with many other different people and do it with happiness and excitement, and wholesomeness too. Like, and just have fun. Have fun. Don't grow up. Never grow up. Like, I haven't done that now. Like, I'm never gonna grow up. But I'd just reinforce that message. I'd say, never grow up. Be a kid your whole life.
Yeah, have fun and enjoy. No.
Yeah.
Definitely, and I think you are living those ideals. So young Jack would be very proud of older Jack now.
He would be,
anyway.
eh?
But we did it. We did it. Remember we were in the trenches?
Yeah.
Look at us. Yes, we're on TV. No.
Yeah, shit.
I
Oh,
don't think,
man.
I don't think you could ever have imagined your life to turn out the way it has, looking back from back then anyway. So that is amazing. All right. So in closing, I just want to say again, yes, thank you, number one, for your time, for coming in to tell your story. I can't wait to get this out to the people. I feel like there are so many good lessons and just examples of your life where you got hit and you could have stayed. You could have got hit in like your drinking and your drugs, and that could have been the end of your story. Or you could have done the marathon and finished there. You could have broken your back or finished there, but you just kept pushing, and every single thing was just another chapter in your book which you pushed forward through and to, and then can now lead a life of example instead of just goodbye. So thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you for being one of the humans on this earth that just does and just keeps doing more, and just doesn't stop. And you're living your full potential as a human. So thank you.
Legend. Thank you for the opportunity to share this story as well. Utmost love and respect, and just pure gratitude to you, Anita, as well, for providing this platform for others to have these conversations and these real conversations about life.
Yeah.
Because we want to be leaders in this generation, and we want to shape this next generation for change, for unity, for love, for peace and harmony within communities and just other people. So good vibes only, just keep shedding the light, keep doing what you're doing, and fucking have fun.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thank you
Legend.
so much. Have a good day.
I will. Yeah. Chat soon.
All right. Bye-bye.